Hey everyone, happy Monday. Today we're going to make an old family favorite, peppermint ice cream. So this is a no-cook recipe, so we start with our regular ice cream base. This time 1.5 cups of milk. But Doug, I hear you shout incredulously, that's way more than you usually use. And that's true. And I'll tell you why in a second. And 1.25 cups of white sugar. Now for this one, just from experience, I know that vanilla bean paste doesn't work, so we'll just use vanilla extract. Gonna go with a teaspoon of that. And then we have our peppermint extract. We'll hit another teaspoon of that. Pinch of salt. And because the store-bought versions used to have a pink color, so we're going to add some red food coloring in here. Go ahead and give that a quick spin just to dissolve all the sugar. Now 3 cups of heavy cream and a couple of quick pulses just to combine, and I'm going to pour roughly 4 cups into this screw top container. That's going into the ice creaminator. Well, and so why did I make extra this time? Well, I recently sourced a Ninja Creami refurbished, pretty darn cheap, so I am going to compare the two and see what the difference is. Let's see how churned ice cream versus blended ice cream turns out. The ice creaminator is chilled. Let's go ahead and pour this in and start churning. And now that we're at soft serve, I've got 2/3 of a cup of those chopped candy canes, or peppermints, whichever you prefer. And we'll just go ahead and let those mix in for another couple minutes. Okay, time to get this scooped out. And we'll throw our pep label on there and into the freezer. Okay, let's figure this thing out. So it looks like there's a separation in layers there. So here we are after running it through the first time. So I have, since this is half of what we made yesterday, this is 1/3 of a cup of those chopped candy cane pieces. And there we are, all mixed in. Let's get a comparison going. This one's out of the freezer from the ice creaminator. Has a nice scoop to it. And then this is fresh out of the Ninja Creami. It's definitely softer. It sort of sticks to the scoop. So off the bat, it sure looks like the ice creaminator version is a little more well incorporated. I don't know if a lot of those peppermint chunks have just risen to the top in the creamy or not, but I know how this one should taste. It's so good. So it's firm like a hard scoop ice cream. There's the slightest hint of vanilla. The peppermint stands out. You get some crunch from those candy cane pieces. This is what I remember from my childhood before they changed the recipe, and now they really don't put the candy cane pieces in there, or they're too soft. They've dissolved. Here's the creamy version. It definitely seems smoother, sort of on the soft serve as opposed to the hard scoop. Like I said, it looks like a lot of those pieces of candy cane really sort of rose to the top, but it definitely seems softer. So it is definitely candy cane overload when you first take a bite. As far as texture differences, it is more like I wouldn't say it's quite soft serve. I feel like there's maybe not as much air in this one. It's definitely different though. It melts more quickly on your tongue compared to the churned version. The churned version looks like it maybe had more air worked into it, and maybe that's just a process, or just a product of the churning process. It's called overrun, the amount of air that you work into an ice cream. If you look at this, and the way it sticks to the spoon, it seems gummy. It doesn't taste gummy, but it seems gummy. Whereas opposed to this, will just fall off the spoon. So there are textural differences. I like them both. I would probably give the edge to the old-fashioned churned ice cream, just because it's what I expect, right? The other one's not bad. They're both very good, and I like them. Now, as far as effort, effort was probably equal. You know, the churn, you have to sit there and watch the ice creaminator. It'll take about 40 minutes to get through the churning process. The creamy has to sit in the freezer overnight to freeze hard before you run it through the machine. And then you have to obviously run that through the machine. Dishes are going to be about the same because I have to clean the ice cream bowl and the dasher. In this case, I'll have to clean the container, although it is already a nice serving container. You just throw the lid back on, and yeah, in the end, I think it's a toss-up. I think it comes down to personal preference. And for me, I prefer the churned, so I'll probably stick with that for any sort of day-to-day ice cream. But the creamy is going to be a fun tool to have. Anyway, I think I've said enough about the differences here, so I appreciate you all joining me, and I hope you had fun, and we'll see you again next week. Have a great day. Bye.